You ever wake up one day, look at your power bill, and wonder if you've been secretly financing someone else's midlife crisis on wheels? Because that's how my saga began. Standing in my kitchen, staring at my electric meter spinning so fast, I thought it was going to throw a piston and launch itself right through the drywall. It wasn't my fridge, and I sure as hell wasn't running a crypto farm in my basement. No, the culprit was a gold-trimmed golf cart plugged right into my garage outlet. And behind the wheel, with sunglasses big enough to qualify as satellite dishes, sat Karen, the president of our HOA, the self-declared queen of Maplewood Heights. Now, I'm not the kind to lose my cool, so I just smiled, made a little adjustment in the garage, something subtle that she'd never notice. But let's just say it would turn her fancy charging scheme into a joke at her own expense. What Karen didn't know, and what makes this whole thing truly wild, is that she'd just taken the first move in a game she didn't even realize she was playing. Buckle up, because the numbers didn't lie and they were telling me a story I couldn't ignore. 3 months back, my power bill was an easy $68. Then it was $214. The next month, $300 and change, and I was barely halfway through. At first, I thought maybe my meter was busted or, I don't know, haunted. I keep things simple, just a laptop, a little fridge, a microwave, and barely any lights since I crash early most nights. I inherited this place from my grandma, a cozy 2-bedroom, 2-car garage, the kind of house where the biggest excitement used to be her Sunday crossword puzzles. The garage became my office, packed with boxes of her stuff I hadn't sorted yet, and I never fixed the automatic door since I walk everywhere. But then day after day, the electric bill just kept climbing. I started to get paranoid. Maybe a smart meter had been hacked. Maybe some enterprising raccoon was powering a rave. So I did what anyone in 2024 would do. I bought a security camera. Cheap, nothing fancy, just enough to catch the electricity vampire in the act. First 3 days, I figure I'm watching for cats. 4th day, I nearly dropped my mug. There's Karen steering her decked-out golf cart into my garage like she owns the place, plugging in, checking her phone, and then hopping back in her Mercedes. She's there every morning, 5:15 sharp, routine as a sunrise. On weekends, she hangs out longer, poking around my grandma's tools, reorganizing stuff. She'd basically annexed my garage for her personal clubhouse and charging station, and somehow got a key, something I'd later find out she snaked off the garage tech with some official-sounding HOA emergency story. That's when my blood started to boil, not even because of the money, but the sheer entitlement. Karen was treating my inheritance like it was her kingdom, because what she wore the HOA crown. I'm not a guy who likes confrontation. I'd rather build a trap than pick a fight. So I watched, I studied. Turns out she wasn't just stealing power. Sometimes she'd photograph my electrical panel mess with breakers, take notes. This wasn't about money, this was about control. But here's where it gets good. I spent a day combing HOA Facebook groups and found she'd made up violations against other neighbors, then quietly dropped them, classic Karen testing for weaknesses. I was chewing on this when Todd, her husband, knocked on my door, looking like he hadn't slept in months. "She thinks I'm at the store," he whispered. "But I had to warn you what she's doing. It's about more than electricity. It's about control." He tells me how Karen, after getting forced out of a law firm for embezzling, became obsessed with running the HOA, needed to boss anyone around to fill the void. He'd been collecting evidence for a divorce, but was scared to death. As he left, he slipped me a sheet with her schedule, social media passwords, and a list of HOA board members getting suspicious about her creative accounting. That night, I built my masterpiece, a little relay timer that had cut power to any outlet drawing over 15 amps for longer than 5 seconds. Legal, harmless, undetectable, and guaranteed to drive a golf cart thief insane. The next morning, I watched from my bedroom as Karen rolled in. She plugged her card in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, click. Darkness. She tried again. Same thing. You could hear her frustration from the street. Eventually, she stormed off, calling some poor electrician who, of course, found nothing. The best twist, my neighbor Mia, a Twitch streamer with more tech in her house than NASA, caught Karen's meltdown on camera and posted it online. By midnight, #cart, Karen was trending and our little drama was going viral. People were cheering on the mysterious power outage justice internet style. Even better, Detective Ray Sullivan, retired Chicago PD and neighborhood resident, shot me a text, said he'd been looking into Karen for financial shenanigans for months, and that my footage might be the smoking gun. At this point, it wasn't just about my garage anymore. Ray handed me a manila folder loaded with evidence: fake maintenance contracts, phantom companies, fraudulent invoices, all leading back to Karen. He needed proof of her willingness to break the law, and my little timer prank gave him exactly what he needed. So I kept documenting every morning, every interaction, building a mountain of evidence. But Karen, she wasn't done. She started tailing me, hired a white sedan to do laps around my block, trying to intimidate me into backing down. Then a community safety meeting gets called: mandatory attendance, aggressive language, threats of legal action. I show up, laptop in hand, and as soon as Karen accuses me of sabotage and illegal surveillance, I connect my computer to the projector. One by one, I walk the neighborhood through Karen's crimes, videos, photos, digital records. The clincher, Detective Ray, stands up, flashes his badge, and announces an official investigation into Karen and the HOA. Mrs. Patterson, an elderly neighbor, chimes in that Karen had stashed financial documents and emergency supplies in her pool house. Then Todd stands up, voice steady. For the first time I've heard, confesses Karen forced him to cook the books. He's filing for divorce and turning over all the evidence. The live stream hits 10,000 viewers as Mia narrates, and Karen, realizing her ship is sinking, tries to bluff but just looks desperate. But she's still not done. Next thing I know, I get served with a lawsuit. Karen suing me, Ray, Mia, even her own husband, for $3 million. Each accusing us of everything from cybercrime to tortious interference with business relations. She's hoping to bankrupt us into silence. Except Ray's surveillance operation and my recordings capture Karen planning the whole fraud ring with her partner Marcus, a fellow HOA president. Turns out the feds were already watching Operation Subdivision. They called it tracking HOA fraud across 7 states. Karen's mistake was getting greedy with the wrong garage. The lawsuit, by the way, forced a reciprocal discovery that let us dig through all her digital footprints, and that's when the FBI pounced. They raided her place, her lawyer's office, and Marcus's operation simultaneously. The neighborhood watched the drama live, FBI agents hauling boxes of evidence, Karen being led away in cuffs, Mia streaming commentary to millions. Todd emerged not as Karen's victim, but as a federal witness, having helped the feds for months to take down the whole network. My humble timer relay had flagged not just the electricity theft, but set off the dominoes that led to uncovering $2.8 million in embezzled HOA funds. When the dust settled, Karen got 7 years in federal prison, the HOA board got dissolved, and Detective Ray took over as our new president, running things with more transparency than a glass house. Todd handed me the keys to Karen's old golf cart as a peace offering, and I turned my garage into a free tool library and charging station for the whole neighborhood. That cart, now it's painted bright blue and orange and used for neighborhood cleanups. So was it worth it? Hell yeah. Because sometimes all it takes is one stubborn game designer with a knack for clever solutions to bring down a queen on her own chessboard. Now every time I hear kids counting down 4, 3, 2, 1 as the new charging station timer ticks, I remember justice sometimes arrives late. But when it does, it rolls in with sirens blazing and a crowd cheering it on. Let me ask you, what would you have done? Would you have fought back or let it slide? Share your thoughts down below. Where's the line between neighborhood peace and letting a bully run wild? Because sometimes the real drama isn't on TV, it's in your own garage, just waiting for you to hit record.